This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway. Supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza, sliceonbroadway.com. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/awesomecast.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said now. I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get geeky with the AwesomeCast episode 349. The craft beer is floating, the Dudders are being chewed on, and we're ready about tech and gadgets. The faces I'm getting right now.
That happens in our other job, I think.
Yes. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Mayhem Studio in Pittsburgh, PA. Finally, after 2 weeks, we're back. We're back on Tuesday. I'm not sick anymore. I'm in this time zone. It's fantastic. But with us, we got the whole crew here and then some. Of course, John Chilla in studio this week. In Studio E, he is the Studio A. I don't know where Studio E is. You don't want to know. That's where Sawtooth gets recorded. Of course, he is the gadget guru with Big Bank International Esquire. How you doing, Chilla?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Glad you're feeling better.
Yes. Also with us over there on the couch, it's Uncle Crappy, Mike Pound. Of course, journalist type. With the Pittsburgh Post Gazette.
Of some variety.
With the Pittsburgh Post Gazette.
I'm a journalist of this variety.
There you go, of the beer
nice.
type. And of course, the great Beer Me show over on the Post Gazette. What was that you were holding up there for the people curious at home?
Our neighbors, the Post Gazette's neighbors on the North Shore, Southern Tier, Pittsburgh's brewery. This is a can of their locally brewed Pittsburgh oatmeal porter. It's a lighter porter. The oats give it a ridiculously creamy mouthfeel.
I'm loving that mouthfeel. By the way, I want to point out I am drinking the porter from a Michelangelo Ninja Turtles cup because that's how we roll in this mother.
That's outstanding.
Yes. So how else am I going to drink beer?
Yeah,
Come
that's
on,
perfect.
let's be honest.
Perfect.
Also, hey, Katie Dudders is here. The Dudders of the cookie, of the cookie namesake. There's the cookie. There's the Dudders, and she ate herself. Social media.
This is why I come to the show, man.
Social media peeps over at
Beer
the
and cookies.
Scarehouse and the Great Scarehouse podcast on this very Sorgatron Media Network.
It is. It is fantastic.
Yes.
It's hugely fantastic.
And of course, on the ones and twos, producer Missy keeping things straight over there. You can check her out at Rebellious Flaw on the Twitters. You want to say something?
Oh, I'm saying stuff too. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I was looking down here to see what I'm producing.
You got a live mic, so.
You were the idiot that did that.
Well, there we go. Like I said, this is the AwesomeCast. We talk tech. We get geeky with people around Pittsburgh doing different things with media and technology. As you can see by this varied panel here with us this week. Of course, myself doing podcasting and video production as well. And sometimes going to very middle of nowhere places to do it lately. So that's been a lot of fun. So you can follow my adventures on social media. But of course, you can check us out at awesomecast.com. You get this and so many other shows that we're doing in the AwesomeCast network. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and the video versions on the AwesomeCast YouTube and Facebook page. And we're live streaming on live.awesomecast.net or the Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday when I don't have a problem. Every week going on there. And of course, we're also on riversedgepgh.com and the 405media.com. Those guys are streaming us. 405 is doing us, I believe, they're still 5 days a week at, I think it's 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is noon here on the East Coast. And of course, River's Age still has us running on Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money. Thank you so much to those guys for supporting us and get us in front of more people to help spread the AwesomeCast. Also, a big thanks to the people supporting us on patreon.com/awesomecast at the Coffee Club $5 a month level, Matt Weller, as well as Mike Fedor show at the Fan of the Show dollar level. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the show and showing that you know it's worth putting your money into it. And thank you everybody else that shares the show, that interacts with us on the chat room here on Tuesday nights and everywhere else. Really, really do appreciate it. Aaron has requested that you save him some Dudders. So there you go.
Is he coming in for 205 Live?
I hope so. I certainly hope so. So let's get into it with our awesome things of the week, because I think that's what we do on our show. First of all, hey, let's go with our guest this week, Uncle Crappy. Mike, what is your awesome thing?
As you guys are aware of by now, Roger Moore, who was the second James Bond and the longest tenured of all the actors who played James Bond, passed away this morning. His family announced, and I came across a thing that CNET did, which is a really kind of cool look at. And this is really time capsule-y. It's their someone's opinion of the coolest Roger Moore James Bond gadgets. And I'd say it's time capsule-y kind of in the sense that, you know, we have our gadgets now, and obviously some of the stuff that would be considered fanciful or really futuristic. He was James Bond from the early 70s into the mid 80s. So things were different then. And the one that really struck me was the Casio watch. I had one that was like that when I was in junior high school. I don't think it shot darts at anything. If it did, I didn't find that button ever, which is probably good. But it really, I swear to God, it looks like the same watch.
I just found the Rolex so far.
Yeah, it's
There's a few watches.
There are a few watches. The underwater Lotus, that was such a cool thing. But it's a cool thing it's a slideshow on CNET, and it's interesting to go back and see what passed for, just ending in 1985, which was the year I graduated from high school. What passed for high tech gadget weaponry back then. And rest in peace, Mr. Moore. Sir Moore.
Absolutely, and also I love, you know, kind of that perspective of we come to like Kingsmen these days, where they're like, oh yeah, most of that technology, we all kind of have it now, and just
Yes.
you get an iPhone and regular stuff now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Because what else do you need?
The Casio watch, even if it did shoot poison darts at people, would be kind of primitive right now.
Mm-hmm. There are more effective ways to disable people these days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Go check that out on CNET. Thank you so much. Katie, what is your? And then I read it, and then I know this is going to be fun.
Parking kitty.
Parking kitty?
Yeah, it's in Portland, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Just Portland right now, but there's an app called Passport. It's one of the largest parking payment vendors in the United States. They kind of built it off that. And it's called Parking Kitty, so it's just a cuter version of a parking app. It purrs whenever you pay. And when the meter's about to expire, it meows. So they just wanted to do something kind of really cute. Instead of just like, I don't know, our parking app. I mean, it's functional. Thank you, Pittsburgh, for having a functional parking app.
I love
Finally.
our parking app.
Yeah, it's the best friend ever. But this one is adorable, so now we're going to have to step up our game.
By the way, so a friend of the show did just recently move to Portland. Rob De La Creta is or has moved to Portland, so we may have to get a ground report. So
yes,
of the parking kitty.
Yeah, someone tweet him and say,
let's go visit him.
Yes, the trout parking kitty. Yes.
And also, I believe Portland's on my agenda for 2018.
Yes.
So
you're gonna need parking kitty.
So hopefully the parking kitty lasts until then. And then you can check it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge difference besides just the fun noises, and it's called Parking Kitty, and who wouldn't want a Parking Kitty?
ParkingKitty.com to check that out. That's a lot of fun.
Adorable.
That's awesome. So I've been really kind of diving into the virtual reality a bit more. I've been digging up the Gear VR. Thanks, Chilla, for hooking me up with the SDK version of that. Mm-hmm. I actually have on order the touch control, the wand, whatnot, that they have out now. So,
they have them on sale too. I saw them at Target.
Yeah, they were. Well, ended up getting an open box for like $34.
Oh, cool.
Out of Best Buy. So this should be here like Wednesday or something by the time I get back, or after I get back actually. I'm sorry. I just looked down and saw Porn Time from Matt Weller in the chat room, and it just threw off my entire whatever I was talking about. But anyway, see, this is the thing that you can do to participate live. So Yes, but anyways, so Google had they had Google I/O last week, of course, and there was a lot going on. But amongst them, I think day two, it wasn't even a day one thing, and I haven't really dived a lot into the VR side of things. But thank you, Engadget. Actually, they're really good about doing these recaps. Like, here's everything you need to know in like 3 minutes of this topic from Google VR. And for them, they have Daydream, which is like the Gear VR kind of thing. I'm iffy because now it's another platform for you to purchase games on. So, and I'm kind of concerned, will my games I buy on Gear VR proceed? Am I going to get, teched out of this thing? Do I need to go buy a new Gear VR at some point? I'm not a Samsung user. But they're moving forward, and they're going to be partnering with HTC Vive as far as the platform goes, as well as Lenovo and Qualcomm on some technology around it. They had some really cool stuff, like pretty much, if you're using a Google phone or Android phone, the notifications are a little smarter now. They brought in a really cool technology called Surat, I believe it is, where it's proposing to take desktop level your Oculus, your HTC Vive graphics and bring them down to a cell phone level. And I guess they're taking snapshots of that. When you render something usually in a game, it renders the whole scene, whether you see it or not, whether you can see behind something or not, the polygon's rendered, right? So they're taking snapshots of that. So they only have to show you a little bit at a time, which should be pretty good. They actually showed a demo of a scene from Rogue One that made it look, pretty good on a phone like that. So
I'm guessing if the phone maintains the OS,
mm-hmm.
which, I mean, if you think about it, the S6 that you have, if you put a SIM card in that, it'll upgrade to Nougat. Because Nougat's supported on that. So if the phone stays current, I'm guessing you'll get 12 months past the last OS. So, for instance, Nougat came out last year, but it released mainstream on phones partway through this year, like in Q1, February-ish. I'm guessing if they don't upgrade to the next rev, you probably got a good 12 months left on that.
Okay.
And that for that phone, that's 2 years plus.
It's an S6. The S8 just came out.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I mean, all I'm using it for is VR too. So, I know this is a stopgap until whatever that next thing is. Chachi, who's been in the chat room, I think he's been using the Gear VR. He got the new one with his S8, has been using it with the S7. And I think he is looking at a PlayStation 4 VR because that's the next step, the next logical. It is that introductory thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it is nice because I don't have to have this giant setup going on or a dedicated computer or anything like that I don't really have available. So
if
really
you already have
sense.
if you already have the device, think about it, it's $130 on top of whatever you're doing. Or if you're using Daydream, I can't remember what the cost of Daydream is, but to get the headset and the remote control from Samsung, I'm pretty sure it's $130. And there's a lot of bundles, right? If you get the phone, sometimes you get the headset for free. So I think it's like that to your point, it's like the natural progression, and it's phase one, right? It's
and even as
barrier to entry.
Daydream was, I thought, supposed to open up to more platforms, and like including iOS, I thought, and I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen that yet either, but it is supposed to. And I think where you're going to see that first is with the 360 video.
Okay.
So they talked a lot about 360 video coming to the TV as part of the YouTube app.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see that's probably going to be their first steps in to the Daydream using the iPhone as its device internally.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with this, but again, it just the virtual reality is kind of baby stepping forward, and it's cool to kind of follow that along and see what games are coming up. So awesome. Chilla, what is your awesome thing of the week? I feel like there's a movie title that goes with this, 36 Days Later with AirPods.
So I ordered the AirPods, and it was the 6-week wait time. And I was going in and out of the store like, hey, do you have any in? It was constantly, are you kidding me? I actually went into an AT&T store, and they're like, yeah, we won't be getting those anytime soon. Not even a one. So I finally bit the bullet, put in the online order, 6 weeks wait time, and they arrived. It didn't take the full 6 weeks. It was like 5 and a little bit. I have to say I'm pretty darn impressed. I think they're a little thicker than your typical, the ear pods. So they do stay in no problem. So if I take these and put them in, I can shake my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just heard it just putting it into my ear, it instantly paired to my phone. So I heard a little ding. I do like I can take it out. I've actually read this week that some people were using these as remote mics for recording things. So you know how how sometimes you take your phone and put your earbuds up there with the mic, just to get a backup recording or whatnot.
Yeah,
a lot of people are just throwing this on a stand or on the podium, right? And using it as a Bluetooth recording device because it's
and they're not worried about people walking off with it.
well, I think if you're doing the video and the recording for
so.
something, they kind of know.
It's not you put it in the front of a room and walk away with a room full of people, right? So, wait, go pull.
The bigger thing in a news conference is like it doesn't fall off the podium when someone steps on it.
Oof.
That would be bad. But that's really
kind of.
cool.
We're all like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
really
every
cool.
one of us thought of an application for that right away. We're like, I could do that for. Yeah, absolutely. But that quality is pretty decent. Then
The quality's pretty decent. I talked to some people on the phone, and I'm like, "Hey, can you tell that I'm on like anything different from a normal noise canceling headset?" And they're like, "No, you sound fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't have guessed you were on anything different than normal." Which it's the same headset I use comparing and contrasting it to the same headset I use here when I'm at home, which I find pretty good, especially like it's what I use to record a lot of things for work. So, no, I've been totally happy. I will say, listening to music, I get like twice the battery out of one than I do when I'm on the phone and trying to do a bunch of other stuff. But obviously you throw it back in this and it makes a nice little click.
Magnets. Amazing. It's magical.
Wait, how do they work?
It has a little green light up there that tells you it's charging. And 15 minutes, and it's pretty much charged back to max capacity. So that's kind of the cool part.
We talked about this. I kind of hemmed and hawed over the cost of these things because they're still how much right now? $150. So if you want 100, now by the way, I just lost my ear pods on a trip last week. So you know, worth it for the $150?
Definitely worth it for the $150. The big thing for me was I actually started wearing kind of like the molded in-ear headphones so I could hear when I was waiting for the train and there was a bunch of loud noises behind me. I can wear these in traffic, around the train running, etc., and I can hear everything perfectly. So that was kind of what definitely sealed the deal for me.
Another metric, Matt's in the chat room asking, considering the decent pair of headphone or Bluetooth earbuds can be had for $30 to $40, and I know you get your ears on a lot of these over the course of things. Is it enough better to justify that increase in price?
So the question I would have is, yes, you can get a decent pair of Bluetooth earbuds for $30 to $40. Are you using those earbuds to talk on the phone? If you're just using them to listen to music, I would say it's probably not worth your $150. But if you're using them as an actual headset and talking on them, I would say yes, because that's where I think the differentiator is for even these. Is it will figure out which side of your head there's more background noise coming out and switch the mic to the other side.
Ooh,
So that's where I think the difference between your $30 to $40 Bluetooth, if you just want to listen to music, okay, cool. But if you want to talk on the phone and record or do anything else, I think that's where these types of devices shine.
I think that's the big thing to consider is that cost isn't just for an earpiece and microphone configuration. There is an independent CPU in these that is doing a lot of that work, is doing a lot of that motion control. There's a lot of talk about it pairing with that whole ecosystem of your iPhone and your Apple Watch, and just kind of being a piece of that interaction to some point. So if you're just looking for headphones that do X, no, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want that kind of whole piece of the puzzle about, a lot of those features that you talked about, then that's enough that seems to justify it. And I feel like there's going to be more on the way that these are going to be able to do.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is when I think about it, so I've used the Plantronics Voyager Legend, which is a very high-quality Bluetooth earpiece, retails fully built out, and we've reviewed it on the show, I think both the last models. That's a $150 headset. The pieces that come into play to that is that it comes with the charging case, much like this. So you're getting more than just the typical, here's a button, here's a small mic that doesn't sound that great, etc. The one thing I will say, and you kind of have to make up your mind on what you want to do with this, you have to pick, like, you can tap on the headphones and it either activates Siri, or there's another setting where it's like your play pause. So if you're used to the single click to pause, double click to fast forward to the next song, 3 clicks to go back, you're pulling out your phone to hit those kind of controls. Right. That is one thing I missed. The other thing I will say that I think Apple needs to figure out how to do this, the higher quality headphones that may not be in the $30 to $40 range. I don't know what the specs are on the $30, $40 ones that you're looking at. Being able to connect to multiple devices. These don't support dual device configuration. You can bounce from a device to another device to another device, but with other headsets, I've actually had it streaming my music from my phone and connected to my computer to take like a phone call. This won't pair to 2 devices simultaneously. If the $30 to $40 Bluetooth earbuds that you're looking at can do that, and that's something you're interested in, that's something you won't get out of this. But I will say it's kind of cool. I have my phone there, and I'm listening to music, and its battery's dying. I can just lay it on the charger. I can walk for pretty much all around the house with these. And also, if I have voice over IP for work on my laptop, I get a call. I just go up to the Bluetooth and say connect, and then pick up the call. And it's a you do have to say activate AirPods on the other device to get it off the first, but it's not hard. And you pair it to one device, and every Apple device you log into, it's there, and you're done. There's no. And when you open, it is true. I mean, when you open up the case the very first time, when you pull it out of the box, your phone just goes, new AirPods. Do you want to connect?
Is that magical pairing it does, just like it does with the Apple Watch and everything like that. That's cool. So there you go. There's some thoughts on the AirPods, if you can get your hands on them, and whether you should or not. I hope they're just boxed in with the iPhone 8 at this point. That'd be nice. Hey, it may be a point that you can't do a lot without them. If it feels like they might kind of go that direction with things. So, all right, I want to talk about a little bit of social media, some interesting things going on out there in the world. Some game-changing things being announced. But in the meantime, I want to give a shout to our friends over at Slice on Broadway, our good friends supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza for a good while time. Now, I love to see people talking about stopping by Slice on Broadway. Now, Pirates are in season at PNC Park. I know, Uncle Krabby, you are very, very close to the Slice.
That's my other North Side neighbor that I visit as often as I can. We got pizza there last week, in fact. So yeah, we're very happy that they're there.
Yes, absolutely, and we're happy they're here in Beachview, the original Slice on Broadway, right on the tracks here in Beachview, right down the way from here. And you check them out; it's good, high quality stuff. SliceOnBroadway.com, PGH_Slice on the Twitter. Let them know that the AwesomeCast sent you. All right, let's talk about some social media. And Katie, maybe I'll pop to you for this one. Doug had shared something in our Slack about Instagram's latest announcements, I guess, and upgrades to the app. Have you been following this?
Not as I didn't read this particular article.
Okay,
sorry. I read another article that's I was like,
"Ooh." Okay, I want to get to the one that you were telling us about earlier. So basically, what happened is. And I'm just going to use Beer Me as
Okay.
okay.
It's very similar to what Snapchat just rolled out, which is
okay.
Yeah, they're very okay. So yeah, that's why I'm confusing the two in my head because they are so similar in their rollout. The new stories, you can actually look in a particular area as opposed to like you'll have a location stories. It pulls up content from Instagram users in your area. So instead of just randomly looking up stories. Oh, sorry, I hope this ad doesn't pop up. But which is very much what Snapchat just released a few days ago too, or I think last week.
See, I feel like Snapchat's had for a bit this idea of like special events or location kind of stories going on, right? But I think the biggest difference was they were curated and these are not.
Yes.
Right.
And I thought this new Snapchat feature, you could lock the story to a location. So if you weren't in that location, the other people that follow you can't see it from Snapchat. And you could also set stories to only share with specific individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Is that different from what...
Well, there's
Instagram's not locking it, are they? They're just giving you location-based sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone follows you on... If your profile on Instagram is locked and someone follows you and you create a location-based story, everyone that follows you could still see it, right?
Yes.
So on Snapchat, I thought the deal was that you could actually lock it to a location, and if that person wasn't in that location, they could not see it.
Ooh, I'm not sure.
And you could also take stories, and you could build a story in Snapchat and say, I only want these 6 people to be able to see it.
That's the new thing. That was the thing with
That's
Snapchat
like
that just came out.
New thing today. Thing.
Yeah, the
Yes.
new and that location thing I think is new today.
The location thing I had pop up in my Snapchat a few days ago because I was kind of confused because, for example, I was checking out the Nashville Predators just finished out their series, and I was watching all the celebrations from Nashville. They don't matter for me. I'm not being too. I don't want to be overly optimistic.
No,
I think a lot of people are being very overly optimistic, and it's frustrating.
You don't want to do that.
But it's but the new thing was you can create the stories within just certain groups. So it would be like if you're having a party, this is Dudders' birthday party, and I'm inviting just my friends to participate, which is nice because I think then you can download the stories later, and then you're like, look at my little story. We all share this out on my day.
A little bit of everybody's story.
So you can curate your event, which is nice because a lot of times we've repurposed Snapchat stuff in other platforms. You just download it and distribute it. That's just one of those things whenever you do things like that. Don't leave your things up for 8 seconds if it takes you like 2 seconds to read it. Do not make your snap like 8 to 10 seconds long when it takes you 2 seconds.
Or drop a paragraph in a 10-second one like some people have been doing. So
yes, I'm seeing a lot of that lately. I'm like, you guys do realize.
Yeah. Make sure it's readable. Make sure we can consume this. So again, it seems like they're Instagram and Snapchat are kind of back into this feature war. Very, very 1-to-1 this week, it seems.
Yeah, like it's like the fact that we're confusing which one is doing what.
Brandon is asking from the chat. It's like Facebook stories.
Oh no! Don't get me started on that. Because that damn camera I keep getting into by accident and I've been trying to figure out what the hell I did every freaking time.
So it's the camera is in the upper left-hand corner, and you can tap it. You can also swipe your finger to the right, and it puts you into camera mode.
When yes, but then I end up in camera and trying to remember how the hell do I get it out.
Swipe right.
And it's in
swipe.
No, there's an
left.
X in the corner. I thought,
but you can also swipe.
Oh, jeez.
You can swipe in and swipe out.
But we're getting to this part.
Swipe or quit swipe.
So Snapchat had this thing. Snapchat had this thing where you jumped in, you're in the camera, God, what do I do next? And there was a barrier of entry, right? Now, I'm talking on my thing, sorry. Stop me. Stop.
Oh, you got swipes.
Stop. Yeah, there you go. So we're good. Where's pause? There we go. It was me, and I'm looking down at me, figuring out how to turn me off. It shows how long I was doing it.
That's Sorg. That's good.
What are we talking about? Snapchat.
No, it's
You
Facebook.
get in there. No. But the Snapchat. I'm getting to the point. Snapchat. You get in there and it's like, what do I do? Where do I swipe? Where do I start? Now you have Facebook, which more of the general populace uses, and then they get stuck in the camera, which has the similar problems or features, I guess, as Snapchat. And I think it's going to be more frustrating for people than anything. Like me, when I'm tired and on a job and trying to do a Facebook post and end up in the camera and just get mad.
Hulk smash.
Sorg smash. That's right. Yeah, there's that. Anyways, other stories going on. Anything else on that? Anybody else?
Katie,
Yes.
what do you find more value in? I'm curious. If you're comparing Snapchat and the new stuff in Instagram.
Personally, I like Snapchat because Snapchat to me is just like do something, send it out, no thought. Or limited thought, I guess. And it seems like every other social media platform I'm on, there's thought behind what I'm doing. Snapchat's more a little me just going, look at this, done. But I do like Instagram stories and just the live videos. I've been having so much fun at Scarehouse with the live videos, just goofing off. And like it's like, hey, we're dancing in the hallway, and it's they're very short live videos, and we're getting so many reactions to them because people are just like, oh look, normal humans. So I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing, I think. But personally, I like Snapchat as far as like just throwing fun stuff up.
Okay, those are both platforms. I struggle with how best to use them for my stuff. I mean, Facebook Live seems to be an appropriate thing. Like if I'm at a location, I can talk briefly about what I'm shooting and what's going to be coming. I have a hard time trying to figure out what to do with the others. So something to think about more.
Yeah. Well, the Instagram. I've been doing Instagram Live a little bit more, and I feel like that's just the very kind of localized group gets those anyways. And it's all that's where I put my work cam basically these days because I'm editing things. It's nothing I want to stay because it's just me editing a project, but I just kind of want that streaming. Hey, this is what I do every day, kind of thing to go on.
I think a lot of it's like, where's your audience and what audience are you trying to reach? With a lot of that too.
That's another thing to think about, and I'm not sure Snapchat's the right place for the beer show.
But yeah,
I could be wrong about that, but there's a decent.
You can probably find the audience there, but it'd be a lot of work. The problem is the barrier of finding audiences has been my biggest thing about Snapchat.
Yes.
Instagram less so, but Instagram yes when it comes to like the live thing.
Yes.
So stories I think work well. I mean, I'm seeing, and again, it's all familiar faces for the most part, but still, like I'm able to repurpose that and put that out in other formats. So it's more of a tool than the platform at this point.
And then something we've been doing is with our Facebook Lives, we're downloading them and they're putting them on a YouTube channel. So I mean, that's another option of just like trying to use
like what I'm doing with the Instagrams. Like I do that. Here's a day in my life on a project, and then I spit that out to Twitter and Facebook. Right. So the more general people can see what that was. So which really works when I'm on these like day shoots, like for a client or something, and there's a whole like set of things for a shoot that are a sequence that I'm journaling, I guess you can call it. So also let's touch on Mike, you had a story in here you were curious about split screen vid and I think we talked about this kind of briefly on your awesome chat recording.
Yeah, and this is kind of along the same lines. As I kind of think about different ways of reaching folks who pay attention to the beer show. As I said, Facebook Live is one. I'm much more apt to use that now than I did this with Periscope for a while, and that's sort of fallen to the wayside. But there are some changes coming to Facebook Live, one of which may not be a big deal for me, and that is inviting people into essentially a private chat. So as you're watching something happen, you and a group of people can kind of come and do your own commentary there in privacy. The other thing is that the possibility of bringing other people into an actual Facebook Live stream. And I was thinking there could be applications of this for the beer show, but I'm thinking more about the Carla and Crappy show, which is a fun. It's a college football thing that I do with my friend Carla Swank, our friend Carla Swank. We're always kind of wondering about platform and what is going to work best. And Facebook is, if there was a way to do all of that within the Facebook structure, that might be a smart thing for us to do. So that's something I'm curious about, the ability to have a kind of a side by side chat, and maybe that's how we do the football shows in the future.
Yeah, if there's something that kind of does that Google Hangout sort of thing on Facebook, I think that's a killer app for them.
Yeah.
I mean, something that at that point you're doing, much like Google Hangouts kind of provided this all-encompassing, when I'm not here, the guys get on Google Hangout and they can do a show. And then, like we were talking about, you bring that down, you add the flair on it and clean it up a little bit, and you have a show.
Easy.
That's
and
it.
It's easy.
That's it.
And especially if Facebook, and it looks like this is a possibility. Facebook is going to be the full-time home for that show when we start it up again in the fall. Boy, it would be really nice just to do everything within that structure. And that would be a big deal for us, and I assume for others.
When you do the Facebook Live, can you grab the recording after the fact? Okay.
Yes. Yes. Through.
Standard.
Can you? Is it in there officially to download?
If you go under, so what we usually do is after it's over, if you go in the edit setting and there's the little gear on the side, the settings, under there you can either download it in standard definition or high definition.
Cool. Or if you were using a phone, because I think
You can download it straight to your device
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh,
but
that's
you
cool.
don't feel like you have to. Like,
But you don't have to.
no.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed that, because that's my preferred method primarily because it's easy. I don't have to know all of the video
and
stuff that you do.
have that localized video as opposed to what went out on stream that could be like weird and buffery
Yeah.
Yes.
too. So
But if you're doing side by side, that could be questionable.
It could be questionable, or is it one of those things? Because the nice thing about what Google Hangout would do is you got basically the sum of the best connections to Google, right? Versus when we do stuff here, it's the connections are as good as I can get to this studio from your side. You're like, we've had that discussion.
Yeah.
You're pushing like 1080 crazy webcam, right?
I pushed 4K
No,
before.
you push damn 4K, and I'm like, yeah, that's not happening here. We can't handle that. And I'm getting a nice 480 connection from you, because we're using a little hardware and things like that. There's other bottlenecks happening there, So maybe the Facebook thing would be like that. The Hangout thing where it's my connection to Facebook, their connection to Facebook. We have the best of both worlds. As long as I'm good from here to Facebook, we have a good video.
And I was thinking too, for you, if you then wanted to download it, you could throw it up on some kind of podcast service and turn it into a downloadable podcast as well.
Yeah, which is something we've talked about and have never really gotten around to doing. But maybe this fall. Maybe this fall. There's certainly a lot of questions, and you wonder about what will the quality be, but just the chance to do everything within the Facebook infrastructure is intriguing.
It's a nice infrastructure,
And that's the thing. We've had this discussion before with regard to Facebook versus YouTube. Facebook is really nice because you have the chat integration right there. Like we're using it for our shows right now, and Matt Weller just killed me with his comment in the chat room, and I can actively see what people are saying. There's a slight delay, but by the time that we're talking what we're talking about here, give it a couple of minutes, the chat room's picking up on what they're talking about. And Brandon's actually chiming in. I think if people who follow you need to go click on the notification button so they know when you're live. And that's really nice too with Facebook because it pops up in the bottom.
Yes.
So-and-so is live. And I can just click or I can just dismiss it. So it's a great feature as far as that's concerned. Did you just see Matt's comment?
Yeah,
too?
no. I'm catching up on some of the stories in here. There's one here that I didn't see from before. We're going to talk about porn in a moment. But first, you like that for a tease? But first, Chilla, there was some announcements from Microsoft. There's a new Surface Pro, and I was just listening to it while I was going to pick up pizza this afternoon. and this evening, and apparently the people are not happy with the USB situation.
And I mean, I'm personally not. I'm interested to hear what other people have to say.
I just dropped $600 to fix a 2013 laptop, so I didn't have to buy dongles for a new MacBook. Okay, so there's an issue here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Microsoft feels the pain too, apparently. So what's going on with the new Surface Pro that they announced in Shanghai today? I think.
Yeah, so it was interesting. They didn't announce it at the education event. They announced it in Shanghai. Looks like the device is going to have pretty much the same form factor. There's additional tilt to the hinge or whatever you want to call it that'll actually allow it to lay down almost flat to the point so you can use the Surface style, which I thought was kind of a cool way to incorporate that. All the way up through, and this I thought was pretty impressive, all the way up through the i5 version, so that will be completely fanless. So they've gotten heat dispersion throughout the device without need for a fan. There still will be a fan in the i7 because they really expect people to push it to the limits. But they improved the battery life 50%, so 13 and a half hours. Optional 4G LTE, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Nice.
So as a Windows device, being able to just take it on the road and it's cellular connected wherever you need to go. More pressure points with the Surface Pen, whoop-de-doo. I'm sure some people are into that. That's not something huge for me.
There's some artists out there that's like, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty. But front-facing camera's blacked out to fade into the bezel. I guess I'm not used to noticing it. I guess maybe it wasn't I mean, even on the Surface 1 and Surface RT, it wasn't that odd to look at. I mean,
somebody noticed it.
Guess someone was upset.
Somebody in design noticed it.
Of course, we're getting Alcantara type covers. Yippee.
I love this enthusiastic. Like this is a Microsoft thing because I used to listen to Windows semi-regularly listen to Windows Weekly, and they would just like stats. And like, is this just like from still covering Microsoft after all these years?
But no, like I think the Core i5 without a fan, I think is something that they took to the next level. I mean, no one else is running an i5 with no fan.
Absolutely.
The 50% battery improvement, I think, is huge for that device.
I'm noticing from, and I don't know if this was a fact before, but it looks like the dial is in play that they showed off with the giant Surface Pro.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying. The hinge now, it lays back at an angle, so it's meant for you to use the dial on the device.
Right there. And the dial is like it's you put it on the screen and you turn it, and it works like a dial function, like for I don't know, settings or something like that.
Well, it's not just settings. So think about if you can use it in Photoshop and have your tools on a dial, right? So if you're working between two tools with the pencil, you literally have your left hand on the dial and you're just rotating left and right. Or if you want to pick line weight or pen thickness, I mean, you just turn that dial and it gives you that click by click point versus... usually you either have to move the slider and then move it back and then move it back again, and then you get frustrated and you go up and type in the number you want and it's not right. It's
that tactile feedback kind of thing. It's another point of tactile feedback, right?
But I feel like it's a point of being able to get exact on certain things.
Right. So much like I can't operate without a magic pad with MacBooks now.
And it's weird too because you bring that up. That's how I feel now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to go back to
what
the
is
mouse.
this? I can't. What is this arcane device that I have in my hand?
People look at me like I am crazy that I would even want to use a trackpad to do things, and I'm like, I don't know how you do things on that because I've gotten so used to pinch and zoom and certain
and as you get into
gestures,
especially creative, I think, because it's for me it's Final Cut, right? It's just existing in Final Cut and getting around the harvesting because I know the gestures and everything like that. Apple's trained me after all these years and having a MacBook since 2009, so I'm used to that and I got all the features that goes, and now I can't roll back, and now I'm stuck with MacBooks.
It's funny because coming from a Surface, and I have an older Surface. I mean, it's the Surface 2. It's the old form factor screen. The trackpad on it's like this. It's like 2x3. It's tiny.
Oh, absolute crap.
And someone said, I was talking about the MacBook just the regular MacBook, and I'm like, they enlarged the size of the trackpad. And they're like, you need a bigger trackpad than you have now? And I'm like, yes, I do. If you could give me a 8.5 by 11 trackpad, we'd be good to go. I mean, if I could turn my iPad into a trackpad while I'm working, that's pretty cool. And I've done that with Duet Display and things like that, and AstroPad.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, back to the Microsoft thing.
There's a comment actually along with this, since we were talking about the dial. Matt's in the chat room saying there's not enough room with that Venetia.
He corrected that. It's
tiny ass. I thought that was whatever he said before. With that tiny ass screen to use the gigantic dial in Photoshop.
Well, that's one of the things that surprised me too. So the dial doesn't have to be used on screen. It can be used just sitting on the table.
So there's a picture of it on the screen. So it's not necessarily it has to be on screen in a location, which apparently is the desktop according to this picture. So I don't know what you're doing. Changing the color of the hue of your Windows logo standard background. What's happening?
They're playing
air hockey. Air hockey. But anyways,
in addition to that, they got upgraded graphics in the Core i7 model, and like I said, support for on-screen Surface Dial usage. The interesting thing that came out of this was, and Microsoft has kept true on their promise. I got to give them credit for that. They said they are not leaving the Surface Connect port. The big deal when I think it was the Surface 3 came out, they swapped out the charge port on the side from the 1 and 2 and the RT, and they put in this new pin port for charging. And it tied in with a lot of their docks, and their docks aren't docks like we think about them, like it's something that closes in on the device. There's one that's just a breakout box, but they do have the ones that kind of bind around the device, and the form factor is staying the same from a width perspective, and the docks actually can grow and shrink widthwise to pin into the device. But to make sure that all of the people that have, maybe you're upgrading from a 3 to the 20, notice it's not the Surface Pro 5, it's the Surface Pro 2017. if that reminds you of any other companies.
You hear me shaking my head over here? Right.
But I will say
iPad what now? Yeah.
They have stayed true to leaving the Kinect. What I thought was a good story that they actually told about this was Panos Panay said they had problems with the Surface 3 and people not bringing the power brick that came with it that has enough wattage to charge the device. And people were frustrated because you get to a location and you pull out your whatever USB adapter plug you brought, and it's not the right wattage to be able to actually get enough power to the device to charge it quickly. Think about it. Think if you bring your phone charger with you to charge your iPad, right? You gotta leave the screen either dim or powered off to even get it to trickle
maybe
charge.
Overnight it'll charge.
Overnight you're good.
It's
yeah.
a trickle. Yeah, we've all been there.
No, the reverse is you bring the iPad power brick with you and it charges your iPhone twice as fast.
Everything.
So, but he brought up. I mean, it made a good point that the power brick is a 65 or 75 watt brick, which is in line with the newer MacBook Pros. But the interesting thing they did say was they're making a dongle for the Surface Connect port, and the new Surface Connect port behind the scenes is actually Thunderbolt 3 USB-C behind the channel. So it can do power, display, all of that stuff.
Hold on.
They're just leaving the different connector.
I got to take one moment. Crappy, are you keeping up with this?
You look pained, Mike. You look.
Well, I'm just impressed that this is like as complicated as the dongle situation over on the Apple side. It feels. I think we should just stop there. There's some issues. Can we just leave it?
Yeah, I don't know if there's issues. It's just that's the
there's
decision they made.
On. There's an interesting. Yeah, and there's no USB-Cs and
no USB-C, one USB A.
Yeah, probably USB 3. Or whatever, but
micro SD card. Mini display port.
So it's out. It's powerful. You're going to need some connectors. But anything in this kind of form factor, you got it.
Yeah,
it kind of goes without saying. All right, let's get to the promise porn.
I didn't know there was promise porn.
Yeah, that was the lead-in to you.
I didn't know we found something.
Yes.
I
we have something on.
There was questions, so I had to do it.
Katie,
I have fans.
what's going on?
Hey, I've seen this one.
I know. I thought that.
Wait, in person?
So, Sorg, if you travel to Europe, you might have something fun to play with. So something they're trying to develop and partner with hotels is virtual reality pornography could be available in thousands of European hotel rooms within 6 months. So you're going to have a little VR setup in your room.
I don't know if I want to use that VR
Oh, I can't
headset.
even, it's like, I'm thinking pink eye. Like, who wants to put that on their face?
Yeah, like are they gonna like hose that down
I
in
don't
between,
know.
or
It just sounds
I just
awful.
shared, headgear seems the best.
My favorite quote, I believe every male guest will want to try out an adult movie in VR.
Or maybe, I mean, it has to be. Like, it has to be disposable, like Google Cardboard something, right?
Yeah, that's got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
It's, well, there's a video. Should I bother? Should I?
I didn't even watch it, so I can't even.
It's something. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So as a hotel, is it a certain kind of hotel, or am I going to find this in the Hyatt?
Well, right now I guess they're conversing. The company is working with 3 hotels in the U.S., but they don't say which ones.
Mhm.
They believe within 10 years, every hotel in Europe and U.S. will have permanent VR goggles that will remain in each room.
Well,
But they're also talking about offering a VR channel, so you would have to bring your own cardboard and use your phone that you can connect to it. But
so this is like Southwest, where you have to bring your own tablet in order to watch the free television.
yeah,
Well, okay, that I could get, and this is something. And what did I say before last trip? I was like, should I bring my VR headset with me? In case I get bored. Then I realized I had like zero internet. But you can still play video games. Just for something different, because you're not going to watch free HBO, to be honest. There's never anything good on. But it makes sense. It makes sense for something to be attractive, I guess. But again, this is like, I feel like this is the thing that I find in the hotel room in Bangkok, as opposed to like a regular. Like, there were condoms in the wet bar. We were definitely not in we're definitely in a certain type of neighborhood when we stayed there. But it's an attraction of sort. So, you okay over there?
It does say that when introduced, you'll be able to pay to be given access to a channel and get the password for your mobile phone, and then that would allow them to use Google Cardboard to start.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so
so these
it's
are
disposable.
These are disposable. These were
Here,
like,
fold this together.
well, hopefully it's pre-folded, right?
that's the version now. Like that's
Yeah.
supposed to be like now, but in the future it'll be like solid
So
VR setup in the room.
so
It sounds like
turn down service now includes they will fold your Google Cardboard.
It's a new skill set. It's a new skill set out there. Well, on that point, we promised porn and we delivered. VR, virtual reality, pornography, coming to a hotel. So look forward to that, business travelers. I swear, if this ends up, what if you find if you find a Google Cardboard in like a 2-star hotel? Do you touch it?
yeah.
No. That's rule number 1. Bring wet naps. Anyways. Uncle Crappy, thank you for joining us here once again.
Thank you for having me
usual.
out. Thank you for the pizza. It's
Yes, I am
awesome thing.
openly bribing people with pizza to get in the studio these days.
It works.
Yes, absolutely. Please tell everybody where they can find your stuff.
You can find my stuff on Twitter at MikePoundPG or at Uncle Crappy, depending on which kind of subject matter you want. To check out the beer show, post-gazette.com/beerme. Please go take a look.
This is the I keep going on this shot, and it just looks like the opening credits to Friends. I don't know.
That's what I shoot for.
Is that what?
No.
No. John Chilla, Chillatech on chillatech.net. I knew it wasn't .com.
That's okay.
So,
It's all good. Chilla on the Twitters. Chilla 579 on the Instagram. Chilla photo on the DeviantArt.
you're going to Wizard World soon, right?
I'm actually skipping Philly this year. I wasn't early on. They didn't have a big enough panels and guests for me to be overly interested. They've added a bunch recently.
Yeah.
But we've made.
You need that runway.
I'm going to Nashville this weekend, and
Nice.
then Carl is actually headed to New York City 2 weeks after that. So we're not going to wedge that in between. So I'm actually looking at Carla, if you're listening and you want to go to Chicago, Wizard World Chicago looks pretty cool.
There you go.
But it's in
I
August.
would say I recommend. I was in Nashville a year ago. Get some hot chicken. Had that with Carla. It's like when I was down there visiting.
Good breweries down there too.
Good breweries as well. So enjoy that.
Cool.
Nice. I love that town. I want to get back to that town. Katie Dudders. Dudders on the Twitter. Scarehouse Podcast. And you do the Facebook Live with Scarehouse every Thursday, I believe.
Friday at noon.
That's
Judging you.
That's a different time zone, sure. Exactly.
Every
So,
Friday at
what did
noon.
you guys do last week?
We were actually in the basement because we talked about our paranormal investigation that we were going to have Saturday night, but we had on Saturday night. So we talked about our building and how haunted it was, and then we were answering audience questions, which was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. You can interact with us. We like to talk.
Has the nervousness gone away from doing Facebook Live?
Better now.
Mm-hmm.
I have a routine. I still have my sheet of paper where I'm like, I do this at the beginning, I do this at the end.
There you go.
So I try to cross my T's and dot my I's.
Well,
Yes.
if you need a producer, we have a good one available here.
Aww.
No.
See, he's still making up from. Yeah, he's still making up for a few weeks ago.
That time I slept down here on the couch. Producer Missy, Rebellious Flaw on the Twitter.
Hi. Yeah, and you can actually catch me and Katie IRL Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
I know. We have been invited to take part in a panel discussion with Doug Durda and Mike Wojcik as well for that panel.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking about social media and business
Mm-hmm.
That's quite
with
a lineup. That's spectacular.
EBU. What, the panel?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen this panel discussion. The dog. I've seen this panel discussion, but usually over a few beers. So there's that.
It's beer. There's a mixer beforehand.
Oh, there is a mixer before it. Oh,
And-
fantastic!
Thank you for prepping us for that.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
exactly.
You're welcome.
This is really good.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to
Excuse our asthmatic dog that was right in the microphone. Apparently, sorry about that. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Everybody in the chat room. Unfortunately, my iPad seemed to have died in the middle there. So thank you. Off the top of my head, Wheels from his new Studio Wheels location down there in Monongahela. Brandon, Matt, and Chachi dropping in for a little bit as well. I know Cynthia Klosky and Hi Mom was a part of there as well.
Also in there.
What's that?
Aaron Parkus was
Thank you.
also in
Aaron
there.
Parkus was also in there. Thank you guys. You can join us here again live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as long as I have no travel or technical or sickness issues. And you can become part of that chat as well. Please check out everything at AwesomeCast.com. Subscribe to us wherever you like to subscribe to things. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to our awesome chat room. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.